We are good to go.
I think so, yes.
Okay, thanks, Jess. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Wayne Murphy. I'm one of the founders of Hatch, and we're here to talk to you about the upcoming BIM Aquatech Innovation Studio, which we've been running in Ireland for, I think this is our sixth iteration. And to talk to you about the program itself, how it works, essentially, what's involved for those interested in learning more about the sector, but also looking to gain access to new networks and knowledge and expertise. Hatch is a global venture firm, essentially, that invests in global aquaculture technologies. But we've grown from 3 founders to over 35 people now, covering a multitude of different disciplines and expertise as we do business with government agencies, corporates, startups, of course, and we obviously take on a lot of investment from people who are very interested in getting or gaining opportunity in the sector. And this innovation studio, we ran it first in 2019. It was our world's first innovation studio, which we ran in Dublin. This year, the program will be delivered in Cork. And we're looking to find 8 to 10 companies. And what I'm going to do, first off, is maybe before I get a little bit deeper into the program and what's on offer itself, I'm going to take the opportunity here to introduce the people on your screen. And we've got a mixture of Hatch staff, but also importantly for you guys thinking about joining this program, rather than hear from us what we think about the benefits of joining such a program, why not talk to someone who's been through the process a year or so out of that process, and how that program has impacted on them and the impact it's had in terms of their knowledge, their connections, and where their business is today. So I'm going to kick off with a quick introduction to Jess. Jess is our BIM community manager. Jess, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. I'm glad you could all join us. We're really excited for this webinar. We're excited to get into the questions and, showing you what's on offer in terms of the Innovation Studio. But then also, just so you all know, you will work very closely with me and I'll be following up with you every step of the way.
Okay, thanks, Jess. Sarah, do you want to say hi if you can? Or you're on your mute?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Sarah. I'm the token American on this crew. I do programs marketing for Hatch, and I'm just here to co-host this evening's webinar with Jess, maybe afternoon for Ireland, but nice to meet you, everyone.
Thanks, Sarah. And finally, but most importantly, you're going to want to hear from John Cullen, CEO of Auranta. As I said earlier, John participated in one of our programs previously, and we want to, for you to hear from him the impact it's had on his business, and from in his shoes, why he thinks it's a good thing or a bad thing. Hopefully not the latter. In terms of the people he's met, the learnings he gained from it, and how it transformed his business. So what I'm gonna do, the agenda this evening. By the way, it's kind of 1 a.m. in the morning here. We're in Hawaii, delivering our 6th accelerator program, which is a program where we invest in startup companies. And many of our graduates from studios, like the one John was on, do go on to our accelerator program, and we make investments. It's a really good way for us as an investor to get close to and understand and learn and build relationships with those companies that are, either seeking investment, but also seeking to build their global business and access new markets. So I'm going to take you through a few slides very briefly, and then we're going to get into a Q&A with John, with Jess, and then finally we can take some questions from the audience this evening. And we'll take it from there. So if you don't mind sharing the screen, Sarah, I'll give you a quick run through. Okay, next. So the program is going to take place on the 30th of September, this 30th of September, and it's going to finish on the 11th of October. It's 10 days. It's going to be in the Rivoli Hotel in Cork. And basically the program setup is a series of mentor sessions from people that work exclusively in the global aquaculture business. There's going to be a range of different inputs, different conversations. Interestingly, for those who are maybe looking at aquaculture as a potential market and don't know anything about it, about 30 to 35% of all our program participants have no aquaculture background at all. And they're coming to our network and coming to talk to Hatch about really understanding what market opportunity there exists for them. What does the competitive landscape look like? What's the market opportunity? Some of these companies, just to put it out there, are not startups, they're scale-ups. They've raised money. They've got customers, they've got revenue. They may already operate in a different sector, but they're keen to learn about what the market opportunity is in the world of aquaculture, which today is the fastest growing food sector in the world. So there's plenty of opportunity there. So we have a range of different types of companies, and I'll cover those in a second, or projects and technologies that are either already in the industry and applying their technology to the sector, or they're looking towards at developing opportunities in the sector. Next slide, please. So what's the ambition here? Again, maybe just taking back a little bit, BIM were one of our first customers way back in 2017. We have worked together on building this program. As I said earlier, it's the 6th program. Over 50 companies have gone through the process. They've raised over 15 million euros in funding. Over 200 jobs have been created. So building out that ecosystem, building out those potential networks has been very fruitful for many of the companies that have gone through the process. But what is the ambition from our side of it, and also for BIM, is to build that pipeline of innovation and technology talent, to get new eyes and attention focused on the challenges that exist within the global aquaculture market. And BIM strategically have decided that aquatech or aquatechnology is where they really feel they want to focus and support those innovators with solutions to the global aquaculture market, and not just Ireland. Ireland, as many of you know, is in terms of aquaculture production, is relatively small to other markets. So one thing that Ireland is really, really good at is obviously technology and building technology and exporting ideas around the globe. And we're looking in partnership with BIM to find those innovators and those guys and girls who have ideas to see how we can get that to market. And internally within BIM and the Department of Agriculture, they've got very ambitious strategic goals in terms of the Department of Agriculture's Food and Marine Vision 2030. And their objective there is to promote Ireland as a knowledge base for aquaculture technology and research, and to attract external investment into the sector. And a lot of what we do in terms of this innovation studio fulfills a lot of that ambition. And as it says here, as the industry continues to grow, we're looking for the best aquaculture and aquatech ideas to develop and scale into a viable business. And why people come to Hatch, I guess, is because we're very, very familiar about what it takes to scale a business in this industry. We've had over 200 companies and sets of founders go through our process. And we pretty much know how difficult it is to build a business in any sector, but specifically in this niche sector of aquaculture, marine biotechnology, blue carbon, and alternative seafood is where we specialize. Next slide, please. So what's involved? It's, I guess, a classroom scenario where we look to develop, validate, learn, and consult with companies that go through the process. In terms of development, we're looking at those business strategy and skills. It doesn't matter really how good your technology is if you can't sell it and relate to finding customers and build and promote your technology. it's never going to go anywhere. And fundamentally, we've got lots of experience in how to scale a business and become investor ready and present your business in an articulate and clear and simple way to try and attract those customers, attract those investors, and ultimately scale your business no matter what your target market's going to be. We do a lot around pitching. We do a lot about building out your network and getting your technology readiness to where it needs to be to attract those investment dollars. On the flip side of that, we've got a team of experts internally within Hatch, where we're going to look to validate your ideas, your scientific principles. You know, we can talk a lot about your market opportunity and where that can be, and how you're going to get that market and product market fit. That's really, really key. And over the last 7 years, we've worked really, really hard on building out that global network, so that when we do talk to our portfolio companies or graduates from or attendees on all these programs, our team pretty much knows where to direct you when you're ready to have those all-important conversations with customers and industry. Of course, it's all about learning. Everybody learns new things every day. For people like John and others who join the program and maybe haven't got a background in aquaculture, this is, some call it a mini MBA in aquaculture, where you're deeply immersed in all that you need to know in 2 weeks. It feels like 2 days, but because it goes so fast. But the amount of input and experience that our mentors and our team put into this process really manifests itself when people kick out of the program and get into the relationship with Jess in terms of on post-program development, post-program introductions to be it customers or investors or potential collaborators. So it's a process that just doesn't go through 2 weeks. There's a lot of post-program support, and particularly from Jess, which she'll cover off a little bit later. And then in terms of consulting, we have internally a division called Hatch Innovation Services. Their brief is to provide sector-specific advice around the market, the competitor landscape, the opportunity, to guide you on your way to hopefully creating the most success for your business. And also we look at your IP strategy, if you're building IP, and that competitor landscape, you know, how difficult is it going to be, and what are your competitors doing, what kind of technology do they have, and ultimately getting to how unique your proposition is with a view to giving you a successful route to market. So there's a lot involved in those 2 weeks. Next slide, please, Sarah. And then, you know, here's the record, I guess, in terms of the numbers. I think this is really key. We have 6 Irish programs to date. Over 50 companies have gone through the process. They've tapped into many different mentors across the globe, from Hawaii to Vietnam, and had some really great conversations and learnings from those conversations. They've raised over 14.5 million, almost 15 million in funding, an average of 375,000 euros per team that has gone through that process. So it's a really good average. And they've created a lot of jobs. So if you're scaling, you need to get the right people, but you need the money to be able to do that. So it's all intertwined. And, you know, we're going to talk a lot about what that looks like and what successful companies that have gone through many of our programs, what they look like, what they've done, how they've approached things, and passing that back down the line. So you can maybe, I'm not saying cut a few corners, because you can't do that really in startup, because it's a difficult journey, but maybe be smarter about your approach, and maybe we can give some foresight and insight in terms of how you can do that. Next slide, please. Importantly, what are we looking for? This is a program funded by BIM and the EU. We're looking for Irish companies, and also EU companies may be looking at setting up base in Ireland. There's lots of supports there, which we will cover at a later stage. We're looking for project teams seeking support, mentorship, and network. Startups that are looking to improve their investor readiness. Looking at later stage companies seeking to access new markets, as I said earlier. And a lot of those are companies in adjacent industries that are successful in forestry or the agri-food sector, and they're looking for new opportunities. And we're finding more and more the applicants to these programs are companies like that, looking to open and drive more revenue opportunities. And what they're missing really, I guess, is what that market looks like and how they can get to it. And we've got a lot of experience in how we can make that happen. We're, of course, looking for talented entrepreneurs seeking opportunities in the industry. We want to, and Jess in particular wants to talk to anybody who's thinking about getting involved in looking to find the solutions for many of the challenges that exist in the industry. And ideally, what we're looking for is a proof of concept or a minimal viable product that we can work with. And, you know, in that regard, it can be, you know, we've had young and old applying for these programs and participating. We've had people with a very early stage idea and those who have got a proven product. So what I'd encourage you to do is get in touch and have the conversation with Jess or myself or the BIM team, because this is truly a really good platform for you to take your business to the next level. Next slide, please. I mentioned earlier about the inputs from Hatch Innovation Services, and this is really, really key. And these are, you know, really important, high-level pieces of information and insight that you're going to get being part of the program from experts across seaweed, salmon, feed, you name it. If you're whatever business and focus you have within the aquaculture sector, our Hatch Innovation Services team are delivering advice and input to many of the world's leading companies, the World Bank, Siemens, Sony, Cargill, Yamaha, and a lot of government agencies around strategy. They can be a very useful stepping stone for you in terms of getting to the information that you need, again, to really concentrate your efforts on bringing your business to the next level. And that guidance and information has proven very valuable to many of the companies that have gone through this process. So they will do some work around what your market looks like, specific to your technology and the focus, be it species or feed or whatever sector that you're developing, looking to develop into. Looking at that go-to-market strategy, looking at the competition and how you differentiate from them, and how you need to differentiate from them also. And then that all-important IP strategy. What does that look like? How can you best commercialize that technology? And these inputs are part of the program, post-program mostly, as you start to really get to a stage where you understand where you're going and how you're going to get there. And this advice and this support, I think, can accelerate that prospect. Next slide, please. When I think of aquaculture, folks, I don't think of fish farms. I don't think of seaweed farms necessarily. You can see here, there's a significant range of our focus areas from an investment perspective. We're happy. This is on our website, www.hatch.blue, in our info deck. You'll see all these different areas of interest that, you know, we need solutions for. So, you know, if one of these kind of appeals to you and is something that you're working on, we want to hear from you. I'm not going to go through this slide, there's lots on it, but please do feel free to download this info deck from the website, and you'll be able to look at all those various different technologies and focus areas for maybe a future conversation with us. Next slide, please. Why join? We're going to get into that, I guess, a little bit more in terms of conversation with John. But from our side of it, we've invested in, it's actually 61 companies. This is probably an updated slide. We've done 14 innovation studios across the globe. We've raised over $100 million to invest in aquaculture technologies. And interestingly, given the work that we've been doing and the success we've had with the BIM Irish studio, we managed to engage the Irish Strategic Investment Fund to invest 15 million in one of our funds, and that 50 million is there to invest in Irish aquatech talent and technologies. So we can really see that the whole sector, the importance and the backing from government and the BIM team is exceptional. And they're incredibly ambitious, along with ourselves, to position Ireland as a global centre of excellence for aquaculture innovation. And how that manifests itself is by talking to people who are on the call here, people like John and previous participants who've been through the process. It's limited to 10 companies. We want to make sure that we can give as much time to each individual company as possible and give that undivided attention to the questions that they will have, and the kind of information they're seeking. It's 2 weeks in terms of 10 days, 9 to 5. It's very intense. You'll be pretty tired after those 2 weeks. It's going to give you full access to the whole BIM team and also the Hatch team, global team, which includes 35 of us from Hawaii to Singapore. So whatever market, region, focus you're looking at, we're going to have someone that's going to be able to give you that or provide some of those answers that you're seeking. It's for the aquaculture and alternative seafood network, but also blue carbon and marine biotechnology sectors. We will give you a lot of advice around how to pitch and how to raise money. We're a VC, so we know what we need to see in companies coming looking for money. And for you guys, there's no cost to you and there's no equity taken from your business. So I think it's a really valuable opportunity for those of you who are looking to expand your network, looking to meet new people, looking for new opportunities, and of course, to find that all-important information and intelligence to take your business further. Next slide, please. So again, it's equity-free. It's about helping you commercialize that technology that you have to improve and increase your technology readiness, getting focused on getting you industry fit, right? And that's a really important piece. Lots of startups go out talking to industry and they're nowhere near fit, and they blow the opportunity. So we're very cognizant of that, and we're experienced at introducing companies to the right people at the right time. And we'll be able to help and guide you in that regard. And John can talk a little bit more about that a little later. It does give you an opportunity to connect with global aquaculture experts, and our network is expansive. And we're pleased that so many of these mentors and experts really understand what we're trying to do in this sector. And they do want to talk to those innovators. That's the lifeblood of the future of aquaculture and how we're going to drive more sustainable seafood production. It's going to be a chance to validate your ideas against experts and have those really all-important conversations and to understand those key market insights. And then, again, it's a chance to learn how you're going to get and convince people to A, give you money, B, buy your product, and C, allow you to kind of realize the potential, which I'm sure many of you listening in believe that you have. The application deadline is the 19th of July, so we're not too far away. But don't listen or hear from us in terms of our opinion of how we feel this is such a valuable opportunity. I'm going to pass it over to Jess and John to take through John's experience of the program and how he feels you should maybe take those first steps in applying and to take on the next stage of your journey wherever you are and at whatever stage that you're at. So Jess, over to you, and maybe the most important part of this kind of conversation in terms of hearing John's experience of the Innovation Studio.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you for the recap and giving us some insight into what the studio is. And more importantly, it's the start of a relationship. And I think John and I can talk about this now. Our starting relationship in a recent few weeks and months, we've been talking about progress. We've been talking about development and what's been going on with Auranta. But before we go into depth there, John, tell us about your experience and your background. Where did the idea from Auranta come from, and where did this desire to join the BIM Innovation Studio come from?
Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, just a little bit of background. Dr. Patrick Ward and myself founded Auranta back in 2013. We'd come from food packaging, so we knew absolutely nothing about feed. And believe me, it wasn't our first idea in terms of what we set up Auranta to do, but these are the things. And I suppose in about 2014, we met a group of vets through chance from Thailand, and we started looking at animal feed. We had a good idea, and we had been working on managing food waste and had done quite a bit of research through FP7. We had 3 FP7 projects in a previous job. We both were working in a different company, and we wanted to do something else. So when we founded a company, we were reasonably flexible in terms of what we wanted to do. But I suppose when we really focused in on feed and functional ingredients, we started to realize that we needed to build the technology from the very bottom. So Auranta is a biotech company. It's very research based. We published 18 peer-reviewed scientific journals to date. We have had about 14 or 15 university trials in vivo trials on testing animals across all species. And then we started to work in aqua in Thailand in about 2019, 2020. And we started to see we're getting a really nice response in shrimp. And we published a paper on Vibrio, and we were looking at other ideas. And then we took a guy on board with us, a guy called John Williamson, who had 30 years experience with scratting. And he started as a nutritionist and as a senior manager. So he started to introduce us around a little bit into the whole industry. But Pat and I realized that we had no contacts at all. So I reached out to BIM, and I was very lucky. The person who picked up the phone was Damien Toner, and he in turn introduced me to Hatch and to Niall, Niall O'Reilly, who at first, and Niall and Damien and another BIM person, name just escapes me, sorry, arrived out to Nova, where we were based at the time. And we started to talk about, well, look, we're deeply working in the research in this area, and we have no links whatsoever to the industry. So Damien convinced me that it would be a good idea to go to Singapore as a first chance to meet Hatch and the team, and to look at how the whole infrastructure or this little kind of group or culture was being built up, which I'm delighted to say I did. And it was on that trip that I decided to do the course, having met Wayne and more of the Hatch people. So that's really how I got into how I came to the idea of actually how I started taking part in the program.
Great. And I should mention, so Damien Toner is the business development manager for Aquatech in BIM. So going back into your first experience of coming to Hatch and with BIM, how was it then coming into the innovation studio? What was this, what were your expectations, but then also what did you feel like, a weekend and then the second weekend?
Well, I think the first, like I've been around the block, and I've done plenty of offsite training and whatever over the years. So the first realization joining the program after about 20 minutes was that this wasn't like your normal kind of sitting and chatting and chewing the breeze. It was incredibly intense. That was my first, just, oh my God, because you'd be kind of thinking you could be listening and half doing your work in the background. It's not like that. So you better line up somebody for the 2 weeks to take your place, because honestly, you won't feel like you have the energy to do any more than just focus on the program. From my point of view, I just found that, first of all, it's been a long time since I had time just to go away and immerse myself in something completely different. And I think Wayne's description of a mini MBA is actually very good. I've done postgrad qualifications before, but this was something else. This was just really, really intense, really, really focused. And like, if you actually just listened, the amount of information that you pick up was incredible. and what I found about it, just as an overall, when I look back, you get so much information and you're buzzing, and then after a couple of weeks, you kind of think you're kind of starting to forget about it a little bit. But then as you start to kind of look at your business and look at the decisions you got to make and the problems you got to solve, you suddenly start to remember, yeah, where I saw that or I thought of that, or that's really interesting. And I think you don't actually realize what's going in until, well, it's happening, but then you retain an awful lot more of it than you thought you would. And from that point of view, I thought it was excellent. And like we really, really reorganized our business since the plan, and we restructured and refocused ourselves completely. Like I had 5 different areas we were working on. Now I really, really focus on Aqua, because it gives us the platform to really drive our business on. And while I'm still interested in the other areas, this is the one that I think has the biggest opportunity and the best opportunity for us to succeed in.
And I think you've seen that in the last 6 months, you've had some incredible wins, right? Like you have more research coming out and more business development there. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, no problem. I suppose we had, as I said, we had started working on with shrimp in Thailand with their distributor down there. And then John Williamson got us a conversation with one of the leading companies down in Ecuador in the shrimp area. And we got a 15-minute phone call that lasted 3 hours. And we discovered for the first time what Gregorians were. We had never heard of them before, but it was a major problem in South America for shrimp. But when we actually went back and did a little bit of looking at it, we discovered it was very similar to crypto, which is cryptosporidiosis, which is we had many years experience of. So we started to work, and one of the first papers we did, or one of the first bit of research we did, was on Gregorians and shrimp, and we started working with that company, and they tested the product in that area and had really, really nice results on the ground, and started to roll it out with their farmers. So that was a huge step, and that kind of gave us a lot of credibility with that company. And since then, like we published 4 papers since we did that, did the program. We've done a number of in vivo trials, and the latest, we've just launched our shrimp product for EHP and white feces in India as the platform technology for one of the main shrimp feed companies in the world. So that's really, really good. And we're looking at rolling that into China in the next couple of months. We got our registration approved a couple of days ago. And we will go into Indonesia at the end of the year, and we just got approval for Vietnam as well. So this will make our technology like a key kind of idea for use in the shrimp industry. Now, the one thing that I would like to see happening is the shrimp prices going up. That's kind of holding us back a little bit. But while they've launched this new product, which is one of the first ones in 7 years, and the first time they've ever used outside technology in one of their core products, we're now starting to get asked to look at salmon, look at trout, look at inflammation, and we have access now to the top innovation people in the three biggest aquafeed companies on the planet, that we can pick up the phone and talk to them, which we couldn't dream about that a year ago. We just couldn't. And we have the credibility and the work done to be able to hold our own in those conversations.
That is fantastic to hear. Now, can I ask you, Wayne mentioned it, there is 10 companies coming in, 10 participants. What is it like when you see the other companies, when you see them all in the room, when you see the different technologies? What is that like in the Innovation Studio?
My background is engineering rather than unlike most of the people who work with me. So as an engineer, I found it fascinating because I was very interested in stuff that was nothing to do with feed or nothing to do, it was very much easier for me to understand some of the technical projects. Some of one of the ones that comes to mind straight away was the water quality one. There was a company there that had genetics. It was fascinating in terms of what might be possible there. There was a company looking at how to control the taste problem in the research kind of systems. And like these guys, like we'd all started in the same place. Well, not all of us, but many of us had started in the same place. In fairness, everybody was in the same place because, like, even inside the genetics company, which is one of the oldest companies in Europe, Aqua is completely new for them. So the guy actually driving this idea in that company, he has to be basically a champion and an entrepreneur in his own way, even though it's a very well-established company, because he's putting his name down and saying, listen, guys, this is a way forward for us. So the other participants, like, as I said, they were all incredibly open and friendly. I think everybody got on very well because we were all working very hard. And the exercises as well that were used, I'm thinking of the guy, Bill Lyatt. I'm not going to be pronouncing his name properly, but
Bill Yao, yes.
Yeah, the communications guy, like he was amazing. One of the highlights from my point of view, and about we're all very busy. We tend a real bad habit of like looking at your phone, talking to somebody. Like, and he was very, very good at kind of explaining how damaging that is to your ability to get on with other people, make relationships, and even people kind of bombing out in investments because they're not focused, they're not listening to what's being asked, and exercises like that I found very good. And I remember talking to my wife about it when I came back home, and she was very happy to help me, coach me in that area since. So I've improved quite a lot at it.
So
Yeah, so
not
look,
just benefits for your business, John.
no, not just benefits for my business, like getting kicked around the head for half listening and half replying. But yeah, no, I thought it was excellent. And I just think the overall my take home out of the whole process was highly professional, highly well organized, and uh, like because of that, you take an awful lot back. Simple as that.
That is so good to hear. John, what is next for Auranta? What is, like in the next year, what do you imagine is going to happen? What is the next plan?
I'm really hopeful that we will get into some of the standard top products that are out there in the aquaculture. Like our technology will replace some of the actives as the functional ingredients and some of the standard products that are out there right now, because that would give us tremendous growth very fast. So that's a huge one. The second area we're really driving ahead on the fish side, both in tilapia and salmon, as I said, and also we look further afield in sea bream and trout later on. So we really want to build a European side of our business, not just Asia or South America. We want to be the go-to people. If someone wants a functional feed that's going to improve the general health of the animals they're trying to produce. And I suppose just from a very quickly on an Auranta point of view, our technology is very much built and fitting in with existing technology, but just giving that little bit of extra performance and actually making the animals have a much less complicated life, much less intervention with medication and whatever, and just to be able to actually improve their microbiome and improve the general health and their general immunity, and that just everything then lifts. So that's the main thing. The other one final thing is we've developed with an Irish company down in Cork, we've got Biocell, where we've developed a non-corrosive, I know it's counterintuitive, but a sort of non-toxic natural biocide, which they're going to take onto the market, starting with the dairy markets in 2025. So we're working very hard with them at the moment. So that's another project that's bubbling along in the background.
Oh, that's exciting. And I'm excited to hear about that. I'll be following up with that with you. You know how I do.
Fingers crossed.
Folks, Folks, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A on the right-hand side. We did have some questions that were submitted to us previously, so I'm going to run through them. Wayne, I think this question is for you. If I've previously attended a program, am I allowed to join the studio?
I guess maybe what you're talking about, if you've attended some kind of other program or accelerator or something like that. Yeah, I mean, look, the whole idea behind this is a super niche program in terms of companies that are, looking to develop their business in the aquaculture sector. All that we're looking to do with the support of BIM, and it's, we've had wonderful support from Caroline Buckel, the CEO, Richard Donnelly, who's the innovation director there, Damien and Catherine, and also the Hatch team. We're welcoming of all sorts of great ideas, and we want to try and develop and get those ideas to market. And we'll accept those who are willing. As John said, it's not an easy program. We're not there to play. We're very serious about supporting and developing the next generation of world-class aquaculture technology through our Irish activities. There's a 15 million euros investment there for the right kind of company. So, getting close to us and for us to work with you and help you get to that stage where you make sense and you're able to dominate and begin to dominate markets like John is around the globe. I do genuinely believe that Ireland and Irish companies have a really fantastic opportunity to, export their talent and their ideas. Because it is a sector which has lots of opportunity for growth. And we encourage anybody, even no matter what sector you're in, if you've got a technology that you believe can be applicable to our sector, we want to talk to you and we can help guide you and develop your ideas about how that could be a realistic opportunity for you in terms of future revenue, future opportunity, and really expanding your business and hopefully getting it to a stage where you're going to reap the rewards as an entrepreneur. So we definitely want to talk to you. Even if you're in any doubt, get on the phone to Jessica or reach out to myself. I think that could be the start of a really good conversation for you, hopefully.
Absolutely. And just so you know, my email address is jessica@hatch.blue. So anytime you have any questions, just, shoot me an email. I respond quite quickly. There's another question which came in, which is, how will we handle IP and confidentiality?
Well, it's a really good question, and some people are super cautious about their IP and how they talk about it. We're not in the business without being, completely respectful of people's ideas. The support and development of ideas is the business that we're in. Coming to us, our reputation is everything, and how we treat companies and entrepreneurs is, front and foremost to all our activities. So we'll certainly respect their IP information if they share that information with us. And within the team environment, and John can attest to this, things stay in that group, right? The environment that we try and create is one of trust, because without that, we can't build anything. And, many of the teams like John and others really shared some of the difficult challenges that they have had and do have. But we will, as I mentioned earlier, have lots of advice around that IP management and strategy, because we want you to be able to, take commercial advantage of those great ideas that you have, and making sure that you do protect those is part of the work that we do, because we know how important it is.
Absolutely. There was a question coming in about when will you know if you have or have not been selected to participate in the program?
When will you know if you haven't or have?
Both.
Oh.
Or
well,
maybe
it's a
talk
rolling.
about the process.
Yeah. Well, it's a rolling process. Applications close on the 19th, right? We're always open to having, conversations about the program. there's a reason why we're here today. We want to really talk to those who, maybe are thinking about what's next for them. When you come onto the program, or sorry, when we talk to you, obviously it's a two-way street. We want to make sure that we can add value to you, the most value, and we're looking for those 8 to 10 companies where we can really understand their challenges, their sector, where they need to be, what they need to do. We try and make sure that we select those that are where we can help the most. Also, we want to make sure that the cohort has a lot of synergy in place. And John would have noticed that, there's many collaborations that spun out of that program. For example, one of the best ones for me to date is we've got a company that's producing alternative seafood using seaweed. They've connected with a company that grows seaweed that was on our program in the west of Ireland. So they're working together now, one's providing a source of materials for the others to produce a different product. And we're always looking for those synergistic relationships because we're building a community, and I think a very successful one. And after last year's program, for the first time, we held an Aquatech conference, which was super well attended down in Killarney. And all the community that are interested in aquaculture were there to talk to and listen to the innovators and the companies that were sharing their ideas and their ambitions for the future. And it's really important that we bring in those like-minded people and those companies that apply. We'll be in touch with you pretty quickly about whether you're successful or not. And if you're not, you're still part of this community, right? Maybe this time it's just not the time for you to join the program. But we want to talk to you next year and the year after for subsequent studios. So we will try and select our companies as quickly as possible, but that process stops on the 19th of July. So if you haven't applied, I strongly suggest that you do so if you think this is something for you.
Absolutely. I think the question here followed up on John's travels to Singapore. Will there be visits for various value chain businesses? And we pride ourselves. We do take everybody out of Ireland to show them the world because aquaculture happens globally. We went to Norway earlier in May with a few companies. So we showed them, and we went to Hav Expo, which is a trade conference in Bergen, and then we did some site visits to see the salmon aquaculture. But then we also went to Singapore. John already mentioned that previously, and next year I think we will be going to Vietnam, but obviously that depends on the companies and the needs that the companies have. So it's nothing that we have set in stone at the moment. It really depends on the cohort that is coming in and where we can see the benefits and the values that we can offer them. There was one more question about what level of time commitment is required. And I think Wayne mentioned that already.
Look, anything worthwhile doing is going to take time, right? And this is Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It's not school.
What's harder than that?
It's not school, but it's a program of discovery and learning, right? And we're going to put as much into it as we possibly can, and we're not left shy of our efforts, because we truly, and to be honest with you, sometimes we want success more for the teams than the teams do themselves, right? And particularly when we see real potential and opportunity, and it's our job, I guess, as investors and experts in understanding what it takes to build a business in this sector. We have to be patient too. People learn at different levels and different rates. Some companies are further along than others, but I think John will also agree, and maybe you can maybe make a comment on this, John. But the peer-to-peer learning within the group from super experienced entrepreneurs who've maybe done it before, and then maybe it's the guy or girl who this is their first entrance into trying to create something. And that camaraderie that exists now to this day still, I think is a really key important part of the process. And meeting like-minded people, you're all in the ditch trying to build this business, and you're on the same page. And I think that's a very special energy that I see, or we see, time and time again in every cohort. Every cohort has a different personality. Obviously, it's a mixture of different types of people, but I think, John, your thoughts around, the people that you met and the kind of that
Oh no,
learning you got from them.
absolutely. And I think like the people, yeah, absolutely. Like and there's some great businesses, some completely very different to anything we're doing. But I even just think that the attitude that you come out with is just a little bit different. Like since we left, we changed location as a company. Like I realized, say for example, our business is very small. We're using a very small accountancy practice to do our work. I realized that I could never sit down with a major investor and bring in the kind of paperwork that I had to engage if I wanted to raise money on a larger scale. So I brought in an appropriate finance company to help us put a fractional CFO into the company to just really kind of keep everybody focused, because we're a team of mostly scientists who are all interested in research, and sometimes there's an operational side that people have to realize, look, we have certain things we have to achieve, and bringing in that skill has been massively important to us and really, really helped us to drive forward. So I just think it changes your outlook, and you realize that this is not easy, but then building a business is not easy, and if you don't take it seriously, it'll eat you. Like, it'll absolutely wipe you out. So I think it needs to be intense in order to kind of get that message across. And if you discover that working this hard and having to drive ahead this hard is not for you, I would say starting a business is, to be honest, because it's tough going.
Yeah.
It is tough going.
And I think, I mean, there's companies kick out that are successful, but if you saw one of the comments from one of my slides earlier, part of the process is also validating that your business has an opportunity. And for me, time is the most valuable asset for any startup, and some of them unfortunately don't understand that. If you bang your head off that wall often enough, it's not going to give you a different answer. And sometimes it's better just to move on to another idea, and that's entrepreneurship, right? So there's lots to learn. There's lots of great people to meet. It's a wonderful environment for you to take a step back from your day to day, as John said, when you're in the thick of it. To have that holistic, aerial view of where you're going, and then to have that conversation with people who are all in the same scenario and experiencing the same things. And then, of course, talking to our Hatch team and BIM, who are there genuinely wishing you well, and trying to promote your development and get you in front of the many different and create many of the different opportunities and conversations that you need to have to be successful, to raise funds, to find customers, and build a long-term viable, successful, profitable business in the global aquaculture sector. So that's the ambition, that's the intention, and we're just very, very fortunate to date to have been worked with so many great entrepreneurs like John. And it's awesome for me and the team to see the success that he's achieving post the program. And if we played a very small part in helping him get to that, well, then we've all done our jobs, because the innovators are the ones that's going to change the landscape, and they're the ones that we need more than ever to build this industry forward.
What a fantastic note to end on, I think. I think we have all the question answered. There is no new Q&As coming in there. I want to thank you all. I want to thank John for coming on. Both Sarah and Wayne, thank you for waiting up until midnight, because I know you were super excited, like Santa Claus. So thanks for making the time. And thank you everybody who joined us today. Now, we've said it a lot of times, if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, if you want to discuss opportunities, please do get in touch with myself or Wayne, and we're here to help you, and we're here to help you in terms of setting you up for success. So on that note, thank you, everybody.